Hi, folks. Um, this talk is going to be just a general look at the definitions of art and maybe an augment to what the textbook might say is the definition of art. And of course, we're going to be either looking at art history or photo history at the same time. So I think what I'd like to start out with is talking about the need for art. And this is popularly kicked around like a football, especially when it comes to school financing. And every time the budget gets tight, they say, well, we can cut out the fine arts because the fine arts are a frill. And any of you who have studied a musical instrument, or any of you that have engaged in drawing, painting, sculpture, dance, some form of art, you understand that your life gets richer as you engage in art. And I think that's something that the larger society is kind of missing. So as I grew older and kind of settled into my comfort zone, I would talk with other people who were my peers in school. And every once in a while, things would get kind of deep. And they'd start to say, they'd say, well, is this all there is? You know, I got a nice house and I got a nice car and I take vacations and my kids are going to good schools. But somehow I feel like there's maybe more to life and I'm missing it. I don't like to be a preacher, and I don't like to tell people, yeah, well, maybe you are missing something. But our society tends to be on the materialistic side, and we tend to think that becoming secure financially is going to assure our happiness, which definitely we need to have some security, and financial security is important. But this is a kind of a long way to introduce Maslow. Maslow was a psychologist who studied happy people. Maybe you've heard about Freud. And Freud studied people who were having problems. Mid-1950s, Maslow was doing the opposite. He was studying people who were happy and fulfilled, and he coined a term which is still being bandied around today, and that's called self-actualized person. And my friends who think that maybe there's a little more to life and they don't know what it is are actually good candidates for trying to take the next step and to become self-actualized. Some of you have kind of explored this whole thing and you're well on your way to being self-actualized. Maybe some of you are older and you've had the opportunity to grow into yourself and find out fully who you are. So let's see if my stickers will work here. I found a print on the web, and it said that the first physiological base to Maslow's pyramid is the physiological, and that means that we need to have food and air and water and sleep. So you're not going to be making art. You're not going to be writing great literature if you're not physically comfortable. The second level that Maslow talks about is safety. And you see over here we have money in the bank and we have a roof over our heads. And sure, we're not going to make art yet because we are worrying about the second level. Now when we get those two done, then we want to grow a little bit further. And his third level has to do with love and belonging and relationships. And these can be friendly relationships, these can be romantic relationships. They can lead to your family eventually. Come from a family, you can get married and another family. Once these three things are in place, then Maslow says that we need to work on esteem. We need to have a feeling of self-worth and that we are valued with what we do and who we are. Okay. So you probably won't find this in your art history book, but I believe that there are several things that we can call soul food, and that's besides the real soul food that's good Southern cooking. We have taken care of things like our bodies here. We've taken care of things like our feelings here. But there's kind of a difference between the animal kingdom and the humanities. People who are gifted with a talent of some type. And we kind of say that art is one of the dividers between the animal kingdom and the human sphere of activity. So Maslow says once you have all of those things kind of under control, the last thing you need is this peak here of self-actualization. And he puts a big old long list of things in here, but one of the top ones is creativity. And I don't care whether you pick up a camera or a paintbrush, I don't care whether you pick up a guitar or whether you choreograph your own dance moves to some type of music. Now you're exercising your creativity, and that's, I believe, a very necessary thing to do, a great part of your life. So this top piece right here is what a lot of folks are missing, and a lot of folks are saying, you know, I think there's something more to life than just collecting things. And there's more ways than art to feed your soul. Some people turn to their faith, to their organized religion, and they practice their religion and value themselves after various different religious figures, and they follow those people. And that's up here. That is part of your self-actualizing. It doesn't mean that everybody has to do a type of religion, but we're going to say that some people find their who they are in their faith. Maybe you've heard of the term lifelong learner. And, I've been around high school kids and college kids my whole life. And it just seems like they're all focused, as you should be, on your graduation. And I could think back to my own graduation and I can say, wow, I'm done. I've got my degree. I'm finished. I don't have to worry about these books anymore. Well, you're going to find that there's some people who don't stop learning. I mean, they engage in public television. They'll be dialing in podcasts. They're going to be browsing YouTube for more than entertainment. They're going to be browsing YouTube for instructions and also for intellectual pursuits. Here's something to think about. And what does so-and-so have to think about it? The fact that you guys are enrolled in school, you're enrolled in a course of study, is another way of self-actualization. So I also say the practice of art. So if you are appreciating art, if you're examining art, if you're contemplating and reflecting about art, that's something that makes you more and better. It feeds your soul. So that's going to be the first part here of my reflections on art. And just remember, this is probably something you won't find in the textbooks, something that I've taken from thinking about my role as an art teacher throughout my life.